wakati mwingine, wakati wa kuwaza, wakati wa kuweza kureason ili tuweze kufanya na kufuata maamuzi na uwepo wa Mwenyezi Mungu. Neno linalotuongoza wakati huu ni neno ambalo liko katika kitabu cha Isaia 1 na pale mstari wa 18 na 19, neno ambalo linasema, Jioni tusemezane, hata ingawa dhambi zenu ni nyekundu, mimi Mwenyezi Mungu nitazisafisha, zitakuwa nyeupe kama dhurunji, na zikiwa ni kama zitakuwa nyeupe kama sufi. Kwa sababu gani? Kwa sababu Mwenyezi Mungu ndiye anaweza kuziondoa dhambi. Ni Mwenyezi Mungu anaweza kusamehea, ndiye peke yake anaweza kuondoa dhambi katika maisha ya mwanadamu na katika maisha yetu. Na kwa hivyo wakati huu mwema ambapo tunaenda kuweza kuingia katika wakati wa kumwabudu Mungu na kumsifu, katika wakati wa kujiachilia katika neema yake, ni vyema tuelewe ya kwamba anasema Jioni tusemezane, na pale mstari wa 19 inasema, na kama munaweza kunisikiza mtakula yote mema ya dunia, na kama hamtanisikiza basi mtamalizwa kwa upanga. Na tuweze kumsikiliza Mungu, na kama tusemezane na yeye, tusemezane roho zetu zisemezane na Mwenyezi Mungu, na tuambie Mungu yeye ndiye tunahitaji, yeye ndiye tunategemea, yeye ndiye msaada wetu, na yeye ndiye wetu wa karibu. Na kwa hivyo andaa moyo wako, andaa roho yako, andaa mawazo yako, andaa njia zako zote tunapoenda kuelekea na kumwabudu na kumtukuza, maana yeye ni mwema. Hakuna Mungu kama wewe, hakuna kama wewe, hakuna Mungu kama wewe, hakuna Mungu kama wewe, hakuna uwezo kama wako, hakuna kama wako, hakuna uwezo kama wako, hakuna uwezo kama wako, hakuna neema kama yako, hakuna kama yako, hakuna neema kama yako, hakuna neema kama yako, hakuna msaada kama wako, hakuna kama wako, hakuna msaada kama wako, hakuna msaada kama wako. Ni wewe tu Bwana, ni wewe tu, ni wewe tu Bwana, ni wewe tu uinuliwe, ni wewe tu Bwana, ni wewe tu, ni wewe tu Bwana, ni wewe tu usujudiwe, ni wewe tu Bwana, ni wewe tu, ni wewe tu Bwana, ni wewe tu. Asante Mwenyezi Mungu, hakuna mwingine kama wewe, hakuna aliye na uwezo kama wewe. Ni wewe tu Bwana mwenye nguvu, ni wewe tu Bwana mwenye uwezo, ni wewe tu Bwana mwenye baraka. Hakuna mwingine kama wewe Bwana, hakuna wa kulinganishwa na wewe, hakuna wa kufananishwa na wewe Bwana. Toka mwanzo wa dunia mpaka tamati zake Bwana, toka mwanzo wa maisha mpaka tamati yake, hakuna mwingine aliye na uwezo kama wewe Mungu, hakuna mwingine aliye na nguvu kama zako Mungu wa rehema. Wewe ni mwenye uwezo, wewe ni mwenye nguvu, wewe ni mwenye baraka, wewe ni mwenye msamaha, wewe ni mwenye fadhili, wewe ni mwenye rehema. Jina lako Bwana litukuzwe, jina lako Bwana lihimidiwe, jina lako Bwana liinuliwe. Jina lako Bwana lipewe sifa. Pokea sifa na shukurani katika jina la mwanao Yesu Kristo. Wewe umetukuka Mungu, wewe umetukuka Bwana, wewe ni mtakatifu Mungu wa rehema. Endelea Bwana kuwa pamoja nasi, endelea Bwana kutuongoza, endelea Bwana katika jina la Yesu Kristo, endelea kutenda mazuri, endelea Bwana kutuinua, endelea Bwana kutubariki, na baraka zako Bwana hazijaongezwa husuni Mungu wa rehema, maana baraka zako ni mzuri. Uhimidiwe na uinuliwe na utukuzwe. Tunasema wewe ni mkuu na ni mtakatifu, katika jina la Kristo tunaomba na kushukuru. Amina. Originality, the African descent. These are the people of the whole world, and I'm talking to every humanity in the whole world. Remember that we all originated from one place called Africa, and today I want us to go into the issue that we call the African concept, or the African ideology, the African knowledge, the African being, the Africanization, and the African leading the lead. My name is Dr. Leverett Joseph Mariare, and I'm here to discuss with you what you expect to learn and what you expect to know from the African Concept program that I'll be discussing in various platforms, in various media centers, in various media platforms, in the social media, in local media, and in all aspects of information dissemination, whereas we are expected to learn and to revere and also to respect our originality, that is the African descent. In the African concept, we are going to learn it in different schedules. We are going to have this kind of discussion in different schedules, where the first schedule will be the introduction to Africa, and in this one we are going to locate where Africa is in the position of latitude and longitude, and also in relation to other continents, how Africa has been formed as a world of continent, the natural effects that support the existence of Africa, because Africa as a continent is a very unique place, is a very, very unique kind of continent. It has some features that are very beautiful, some features that are very, very good in life supporting, and some features that are favorable for living creatures, whether it is in water, whether it is in dry land, whether it is in air. All these creatures, whether they are creeping creatures, whether they are flying creatures, whether they are jumping creatures, clopping creatures, walking creatures, running creatures, and so on, swimming creatures in the sea, they are supported by the climatic conditions of Africa, which is very favorable. So we are going to learn the uniqueness of Africa and the natural effects that support Africa. We are also going to learn how Africa is very unique in features that distinguish Africa from other continents. We are also going to learn more about African communities, or we are going to seek more about the African communities, African tribes, cultures, beliefs, and also intrigues of the African environment, how sustainable environments are in African, green energy deposits, water sources, environmental economies, carbon trading, oil and related gases, and many others that are resources that are found in Africa. Then we are showing also to discuss more about the African ideologies, African eminence, African leadership, African politics, African opportunity in leadership, and sustainable in politics, and also the other issues that we are going to look into, or we are going to eliminate our world community concerning Africa, is the African economies, the African challenges, the human resource in African concept, innovations and inventions, mentorship and entrepreneurship, then family unities, challenges and opportunities within the families, and the unity of purpose in Africa. Then we have the fourth schedule that we are going to discuss about the collecting pieces of African, the pieces that have been broken, how can we correct them up, opportunities for economic growth, mobilization of human resources, mobilization of the natural resources, value addition to raw materials, and leveraging on market and marketing, mobilization of financing for African ideological development. Then the fifth scenario will have the developing of ideas to palatable projects in Africa, how the ideas are developed to palatable projects in Africa, the consolidation of concerted efforts of unity of purpose, the One Africa, One Idea Planner. We have also the consolidated economies, consolidated leadership systems, improved mentorship to young generations, endowment for African kitty. And then the sixth schedule, we're going to discuss about African relations to other continents, African debts and solutions, African treaties and solutions, African justice systems, and infiltrations, African slavery and solutions, African education system, the future of Africa, invite African eminence. We are going to see how we are going to invite the former African eminence in these issues of African concept, where we are going to discuss several issues concerning the African eminence, the importance of the African eminent people. In that aspect, we are going to, that is now the interactions and the spicing, where we welcome the former leaders from Africa, the invitation of international organizations leaders like the United Nations, like the African Union, like other international issues, invitation of mentorship in leadership, religious leaders, invitations, villagers and informal settlements occupants invitation, field visiting, farmers fair, and women involvement in matters concerning African development. So that's in a nutshell what we are going to do on how the program of African concept is going to run in net. And as we are going to discuss about this one today, I want us to go back a little bit and learn more about African and the African originality, the originality of Africa in the first schedule, where we're going to cover the introduction to Africa. And in my introduction, I'm going to discuss about the name African. The name Africa. Africa as a name, we know it was derived from Egyptian, meaning Africa. Africa, as stated by Messi in the year 1881, meaning to turn towards the opening of the car. Egyptians said Africa, which means is to return towards the opening of the car. And the opening of the car, first of all, we need to understand what is car. Car is the energetic double of every person, and opening of the car refers to a womb or a bad place. So a person has been believed to have a true energetic double of every person, and this energetic double of every person is what is called the car. And in other words, it refers to the womb or the bad place. And as African as a name of a girl, which originated from the Celtic origin, Its meaning is present. So Africa is very present. Africa means present. So Africa means a return to the opening of the car. It means something that is very present. And we are going to see how present it is because of the environmental support of African lives, the climatical conditions of Africa, the systematic aspect of Africa as a continent, and Africa as people. Africa as a people, they are very present. Africa as a continent is also very, very present. In Hebrew, from the Phoenician afar, which is also identical to Hebrew in language, Africa means dust, earth, or soil. So where God created man from the dust, which is Adam, or where God made a man from the earth or from the soil, it shows that the earth, the dust that was used to create a man, originated from Africa. So it is the Adam, it is the dust, it is the soil, meaning it is the source. In Latin Africa comes from what? Afar, meaning black or dark, and Africa, meaning sunny, making Africa to mean black, dark, and sunny. Africa is black, is dark, and sunny. As a continent, it has several pockets of sunny places like Sahara and Sahel. And we know African people are known to be dark, are known to be black. Now, Africa has been given the name by Romans when they used to term, or when they used to refer to parts of Tunisia and in northern Algeria. So Romans, when they were referring to Tunisia and northern Algeria, they called this place Africa. Okay, they call this place Africa because of how dark they are and how sunny it was. Remember, Africa is the oldest continent and also is the youngest one. Okay, it is the oldest and it is the youngest. 1 in 4 people in the world by 2050. It has been believed that 1 amongst 4 people will be an African. So, and Africa is a strategic continent whose robust human capital and abundant resources inspire partners and allies around the world. So the human capital and abundant natural resources are the ones that inspire partners from other continents around the world to be in Africa, to associate with Africa. That means associating with the African people and associating with Africa as a continent because of natural resources. They are very abundant. The human capital is also very abundant. That is why Africans are always moving to other continents as laborers to go and work, looking for green pastures, as most of people call it, because the human capital in Africa is very robust, very hardworking, very energetic, very industrious, very compassionate about it, and also the natural resources, they are abundant. Another name of Africa is Alkebulan. The Alkebulan, which originate from Arabic language, suggesting there were other humans and meaning mother of mankind. Or the other meaning, directing us to the Torah, Bible, or Quran meaning Garden of Eden. So Arabs, or the originality of Africa in Arab, it was called Al-Qiblan, meaning Africa is the mother of mankind. Okay? And this now directs us to the other meaning in the Torah, in Bible, and Quran, the meaning of the Garden of Eden. Okay? Even though the Garden of Eden is a more religious terminology, and we know the first humans did not have any religion, but they were spiritual. The Garden of Eden in Africa is today believed to be the Okavango Delta of Botswana. Okay? But in Bible, it is dictated to be somewhere in Armenia, the head of Persian Gulf, the southern Mesopotamia, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers run into the sea. Okay? Remember, Africa is also called the cradle of mankind because human life originated here in Africa. So, the cradle of mankind or humankind, it is in Africa. Okay. So, with all these aspects that we have gone through today concerning Africa, we can learn the importance of the continent of Africa and also the importance of Africa as people. Robust human capital and now abundant natural resources. The creator of the world was very specific in putting the resources in Africa so that they can support life. They can support Africans. And because Africa is the cradle of humankind, there is no one in the world who can stand and say, I'm not an African. You are an African. You are great 17 degrees, 33 degrees, 20 degrees west. Africa has 8 major physical regions. 8 major physical regions of Africa. We have the Sahara, the Sahel, the Ethiopian highlands, the savannas, the Swahili coast, rainforests, African Great Lakes, Southern Africa. Sahara and Sahel cover large beds of the continent, while others are isolated areas. However, each of the regions has unique animal, plant, and human communities. African continent is located to the west of Asia, northwest of South America, southeast of North America, north of Antarctica, south of Europe, and southeast of Australia. The formation of Africa as a continent may be said to have been or have taken place, the formation of Africa, during the Paleozoic, that is 541 to 252 million years ago. Paleozoic means an ancient life. A nation life. It was a glacial period during the Ordovician, which is evidenced by the widespread disposition tiliches, which may be seen in southern Morocco, throughout West Africa and sub-Equatorial Africa as far as south as Namibia. It was formed during the Paleozoic, which means an ancient life. So African continent was formed purposely for support of life. It was formed during the ancient life. The natural effects that supports Africa, the position of Africa on Earth and its climate has made it a home to many resource-dense natural habitats, which include the forests, oceans, coasts, deserts, highlands, and more. These resources have allowed people to live in Africa without degrading the land or the ecosystem. So naturally, Africa has supporting features, okay, and has made to become a natural habitat. The climatic conditions of Africa, the position in the world, where it has been positioned, its position in the world, its favorable climatic conditions, more resources naturally are endowed in Africa because of its position in the world, its position in the universe, and also its climatic conditions. It makes Africa to support life, where these resources have allowed people to live in Africa without degrading the land or its ecosystem. That tells you that other continents, people can degrade the land and they can degrade the ecosystem. But Africa has supported so many lives that it cannot even degrade it. It cannot, all this life, the ecosystem, will never degrade the resources that are in Africa. Meaning that the resources are so huge to support life for many, many years. Millions and millions of years. Millions and millions of years. Africa is very unique. The uniqueness of Africa is so great because Africa has several unique features, several unique animals, birds, cultures that can never be found anywhere else. So, as you come back to the second preposition or to the second discussion of Africa, think about Africa, how unique it is, and understand we all originated from Africa. I am an African, you are an African. I am an Africa, you were an Africa. Whether you are a nationality or a citizen of the United States of America, remember originality of your people is Africa. So you were an African, I am an African. The African concept. Thank you so much.